Hi. I'm dealing in Recovering Biblical Manhood and Womanhood, the chapter by George W. Knight III, Husband and Wives as Analogues of Christ and the Church. Last time we dealt with his conversation about Ephesians 5:20-33. This time we're dealing with Colossians 3:18 and 19. So I'll reread that passage. Wives, submit to your own husband, as is fitting in the Lord. Husbands, love your wives, and do not be bitter toward them. So here are some comments about Colossians 3:18. He says, wives, submit to your husbands is fitting in the Lord. This is no abandonment of the New Testament truth as taught by the Apostle Paul, that there is neither male nor female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus, Galatians 3:28. Rather, it is an appeal to one who is equal by creation and redemption to submit to the authority God has ordained. Her equality is evident in the verb form always used in this admonition, in the fact that it is wives who are addressed, not husbands. The New Testament never commands husbands to subordinate their wives, i.e., force them to submit. The voice of the verb is not active, but middle passive, with the meaning either of subjecting oneself, middle, or of allowing oneself to be in subjection, passive, with the middle voice most likely here. Thus the admonition is similar to the request in Hebrews that Christians, who are equal in creation and redemption to one another, and therefore also equal to elders, are to obey your leaders and submit to their authority. And Peter's instruction that young men be submissive to those who are older. Just as certain men can be given authority in the church, implying no superiority for them or inferiority for those subject to them, so also wives may be asked to subject themselves to their husbands without any suggestion of inferiority or superiority. The Apostle Peter makes this clear when he insists that husbands, to whom he has asked wives to submit, treat them with respect as the weaker partner and as heirs with you of the gracious gift of life. Okay, now I think the next part is the counsel to the husband. It says, Paul addresses husbands. Husbands, love your wives. The key word love appears 6 times in Ephesians 5:25-33. It denotes the husband's duty to his wife. Interestingly enough, his role, headship, was stated in the section addressed to his wife, not in the section addressed to him. Paul does not say to husbands, be head over your wife. Instead, he commands them twice to love their wives. And, I've lost my place here. To love their wives. And husbands, love your wives, and husbands ought to love their wives as their own bodies. The command is explicated by reference to the analogy of Christ's love for the church, and by the way one loves one's own body, by nourishing and cherishing it. In the comparison made with Christ's love for the church, Paul emphasizes the self-giving character of that love and its concern to benefit the other so that life together will be wonderful. Just as the church, in submitting to Christ, was the model for the wife in submitting to her husband as her head, so now Christ, in his love for the church, is the model for the husband in loving his wife. The character and description of that love are stated in the words, "and gave himself up for her." In these key words are contained the description of what the love of a husband for his wife should be. So he did speak somewhat from Ephesians as well in this section. First, the loving husband gives of himself. In his headship role as head, he seeks to lead by giving of himself to his wife in ways analogous to how Christ gave himself to his bride. Christ's giving of himself was personal and sacrificial. This great principle of self-giving sets the tone and points toward the many ways in which this love can be manifested and realized. Second, Christ's giving of himself was for the benefit of his bride. He gave himself up for her. Just so, the husband's self-giving should be for his wife's benefit. In short, we may speak of this love as giving of oneself for the benefit of the other. I just wanted to read to you something that I recently came across. The Secret of a Happy Marriage. There once was a man and a woman who had been married for more than 60 years. They talked about everything. They kept no secrets from each other, except that the old woman had a shoebox in the top of her closet, and she cautioned her husband never to open it or ask her about it. For all these years he had never thought about the box. But one day the little old woman got very sick, and the doctor said she would never recover. In trying to sort out their affairs, the little old man took down the shoebox and took it to his wife's bedside. She agreed it was time that he should know what was in the box. When he opened it, he found 2 beautifully crocheted doilies and a stack of money totaling over $25,000. He asked her about the unusual contents. "When we were married," she said, "my grandmother told me the secret of a happy marriage was to never argue. She told me that if I ever got angry with you, I should just keep quiet and crochet a doily." The little old man was so moved. He had to fight back tears. Only 2 precious doilies were in the box. She had only been angry with him 2 times in all those years of living and loving. He almost burst with joy and happiness. "Sweetheart," he said, "that explains the doilies. But what about all this money? Where did it come from?" "Oh," she said, "that's the money I made from selling the doilies." I just thought maybe we needed to lighten up a little in this subject of headship in the family. Now, I'm trying to see if I wrote down a link for this video. Yes, I did. What does family headship imply? Submission, domination, complementarity, different accountability. This is based on readings that I was doing from C.S. Lewis's book, The Four Loves. Thanks for listening.